Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher, or CZT, if you hear that acronym. And I am so happy to share with you today this tangle called Hurray from Agneta Landegren. And Agneta, I hope I pronounced that close. This is such a cool tangle. You know, it's one of those, I say that about all of them, but they're all worthy, and this one especially. All right, this one starts off with a dot grid, and I came up with this idea just today. It's like, how long did it take me to come up with this one? This was good. If, for creating the dot grid, if you happen to have a thicker pen. So like I have the graphic one, it works really nice. And I did try it with my, let me find it here. Because this is just an off the cuff thing. Let me flip this back over. So when we're creating a dot grid, what I would normally do is, I'm using my, whatever pen I'm going to use, and I would create a dot like this for a dot grid. If it's to be like that, which most of them are, something substantial. I think there's one like Fife that is literally just a dot like that. And it becomes part of the, both of them become part of the tangle. But when you need just a little bit bigger one, instead of doing that, if you happen to have, like I said, a thicker pen, so this is the graphic one, and just put a dot like that. And then this is the new, they have a 10 and a 12 now, and that works just as well. It's a little bit thicker, so then you have consistency with those little dots. And I was like, oh, why didn't I think of this a long time ago? It would, kind of, it's like an additional struggle point if I don't make that little, filled in orb, essentially the dot, look nice, or I have a little, tail hanging off of it like I end up doing a lot. So anyway, one of those, okay, that was a good thought, and I'm done for the week, and that's it. There we go. So anyway, I wanted to make sure to share that, because if you have had similar issues, doing a dot grid, let's do it this way. All right, this for purposes of today, I'm going to do 5 dots across. We'll do several down. A lot of times I should have started in the middle. That's just silly. Oh well, I've started here now. Okay. And most times I like to start in the middle, and had I started in the middle, then I could have worked both ways out, and then this would have been centered. Oh well. Such is Zentangle. We just make do. Let's see, I'm going to go down as far as I can. Now here's another point, especially for this tangle, that I noticed. And I'm just going to come down to here. All right. And I'll share that other revelation, as we get to it. All right. So, and we also, I'm so excited. So I'm okay, breath, slow down, because we had so much fun today. At the time of this recording, it's a Thursday, and I had my 2 free Tangle Time sessions. If you want to join us for one of these sessions, in the description section are ways to connect with me. Website is probably the best website, or the Facebook group. From my website, I think my, email and other things are on there, so that way we can connect and things. But so we had 2 really wonderful sessions, and this tangle is just so amazing in how we can do it differently with the same tangle. So anyway, so I'm just, all riled up from how much fun that we had with this. All right, so you have your grid. I'm going to design it as a fill-in. Like I said, we had some people that did it like a border, some people that did it in different configurations, and I'll share that later. Okay, so I am going to start here on, so here's my center. I'm essentially kind of doing 2 columns of these. And so what I'm going to do is I'm skipping this column of dots, and in this column, I'm going to put seeds. And so for those that don't know what a seed is, as you can see, I'm drawing that. It's a curved line going one direction, curved line going the opposite direction. And we're going to come down, and then this is where I usually see just how crooked my lines are. But you know what? Does it matter? No, it doesn't. All right, so skipping this, here's our column. Column, you can look at this way, it's a row, right? Skipping this one and then coming to this one. So however your dot grid is configured, we're alternating, empty and columns of seeds. Okay. Now those are done. And now I forgot. This was our swoosh line. I'm trying to remember. We had a funny, I'll have to listen to the recording. We had a funny way that my mom came up with of saying this. All right. So the next step, and what I decided to do is I split the next step up into two, just so it's easy to see. In the description section also will be my step out, as well as a link to Tangle patterns, where I found this. And you'll see Agneta's work and her step out and a little sample on how she decided to use it. But so this is the first half of the next step, we'll say. So coming from this dot here, so the bottom, if I'm looking at it this way, the bottom of the seed, and we're going to draw a curved line up to this seed. So I'm just positioning my tile, and let me move these pens out of my way. Okay, as you hear this rattling, and you can do it either way. Whether it's easier for you to come from here and aim here, or to go from here and aim backwards, that's up to you. But we just want this nice curved line going into the bottom. Now, I'm going to do it on both sides just because that way I don't have to flip my tile so often. And I also, a lot of times, like doing the same stroke over the whole area, when I'm doing that tangle, and then turn the tile and do the next step, if possible. There are some occasions, and I know I've mentioned it on other videos, and it's usually when it's some kind of a grid pattern that has a lot of steps in the one box, then I find it easier just to do all of that and then move on to the next one. But it's a personal choice. All right, so now I've turned my tile, because we're gonna go the opposite direction. So coming from here, let me turn it this way. So still coming from that same bottom, we're gonna go up and put a curved line to that dot. But again, I'm just moving it because I want to use the natural curve of my hand, like so, and we're just meeting right up there at that dot. All right, and then this side as well. And this time, I'm not going to worry about, a lot of times I like to work under the border, or like I would expand this so that way it encompasses the entire tile. But today we're not going to do that. But I do want to share, so I ended up with these 3 extra dots at the bottom because I did the whole grid. So one suggestion, however you're doing it, you can either not worry about it, or just like I did here, I left it a little bit shy of filling it in. So knowing I could fill in one more, and I kind of found this, realized this somewhat by mistake as I was playing around with it. So what I'm going to do, so I'm consistent, let me use my graphics. I'm going to add a dot in this column and one in this column, but not the others. So that way we can kind of get rid of those. Then we're going to do the seed. Oops. And this pen, I want, oh no, this, let me look. No, this is one that I'm almost getting to the metal. I've had several that have had to toss because I've just used them all up. Okay, and then we're going to do those curve lines. Oops, whoops, whoops. And so this way, you have no dots left over. So just a thought. And if one of those, if you end up with extra dots, oh well, and you find a way to utilize them, or you could continue going off the page, and I'll show that when we're done here, when I show the samples. Okay, next is we're going to fill in, but we're going to fill in alternately. So I'm filling in, and I'm just starting here at the top, it doesn't matter. So if we're looking at the column, we are alternating. So fill in, skip, fill in, skip. And I'll tell you what, I think that was the hardest part that I had was skipping. It was like, because I was like, oh, I'm all in the groove of filling in. So and I would just keep going. All right. And you know what? If you end up doing that, it's okay, right? We know there's no such thing as a mistake in Zentangle. And then you could, come up with something else, like put another color over it, or you could put a pattern on it. So we had some really neat things that came out of our sessions. And and I want to mention, if you do go to my website, tangleaddicts.com, and sign up for the blog, I have vowed to all of my fellow Tangle addicts to get better at it's doing the blog posts after I'm done with the session. I was really good at it for a while, and then kind of have fallen down on the job. But if you sign up for that, then you'll get it when I release them, or you can even just go back and look through them. I think it's called the blog page or something, and then you can see the screenshots from what everybody did, as well as any pictures that anyone sent in. It's really fantastic. All right, so in this next column, we are alternating. So filled in here, not filled in here, and so I'm going to fill in the next one, and then continue going down the path. So skipping that and filling in this one. All right. And that is basically it outside of shading. And I'll show you just the simplest way, and actually I think this is how she did it in hers, was, so I'm going to put some graphite right up the center here. Actually, I'm going to go a little wide because I want to have it go on both sides. I'm going to put some graphite here. This one will be easier because it's only doing one side. Here as well. All right, and then with the tortilla, we'll start over here since I'm there. And this, if this is, oh, there we go. If this is the first video that you're watching of mine, or if you're just new to Zentangle, period, what we like to do is when we're putting the graphite on, we put the end of the pencil, and this is just a regular number 2. Actually, this is a golf pencil. I had bought a whole box of them for classes, and that's all we're using. And it's also nice to maybe not have a point on it, so that way you're not digging into whatever your paper is, but having that point towards what have I heard it said? Have it point to the place that you want it to be the darkest. And then the same thing with the tortillon, and I like to just put it on, on the graphite. And usually I'm not necessarily going both sides. So like here, I did not want to go past that line. Let me do this side again, just so you can see. I'm not going past that line, so I'm doing little circles, having the end of the tortillon on that graphite line. And so if I do slow motion, see, I'm just pulling down, and I'm pulling that graphite down. Sometimes you have to add a little bit of pressure. Shouldn't have to add too much. I don't like to have, I don't like to see that harsh pencil line, and then second, I like the gradient to also be smooth and not necessarily like as if you can see. Now in this one, because I want it to go to both sides, I'm going to put it on both sides. So I'm doing just a big circle down the center, spreading it both ways. And then, so then I can do this side. And then I can do the other side. And then we'll look in the camera, see how we did here. Oh, looks nice. Yeah, I could probably go a little darker on these sides, but you get the idea. And this is another one of those that it's really neat that you can, you turn it, it has a little bit different look. And, it can go either way. All right, let me share with you some of the fun that we had. Let me back this up really quick. And then also point out some other things that we discovered. Okay, let's see. This was the first session. Yes. And this I did on a Renaissance tile, which is a tan tile, and I used brown and black. This one, brown and black, and then I used graphite in the same way I did, on this one. But I wanted to use the white because part of using the tan is that you can use both shading and highlighting. And I wasn't happy with the way it was going, and then I decided to add some white jelly roll on just the one side of the brown line that I, where I did those curve lines. And all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then just a little line dot in where I colored in brown to just make those look a little shiny. Just neat. So they kind of look like shiny beads. All right, so that was one. And then here was another one. Same idea. Yeah, same idea. I just kind of kept it simple, but decided to shade in the, well, actually this one I did in white. So I did brown, white, instead of just kind of leaving it empty. Because you can do it either way, right? This one I added some graphite and then put a little bit of white in the center just to make it look different, and it turned out really cool. And then I was challenged because my mother, who was on the calls with me, her first one, she decided to do something like this. And then I was challenged to do something like that. And I'm thinking what I might do is, because I do want to keep this at a quick video, and it's already kind of going on to the higher end of this, just because there's so many options you could do with this. I may do a second video. If you would like to see how I did that, maybe leave it in the comments, and I could do a secondary video on how to do this tangulation of Hurray! Now, something I want to point out, because in the first session, somebody put little smiley faces in these, and it was just, all of a sudden, it popped out, and I did not read the story on Tangle Patterns, and I'm going to go back and just find the inspiration on the name. But if you picture, well, let's see, if I put a smiley face here, and then these are the little arms, and those are the little hands, and it's a giant hooray. And so I was just like, just taken quite aback, realizing that, and it's just like, oh, I just love that, because we all need a big hooray a lot of times, and especially, just depending on life, right? So I wanted to share that as well, because I'm like, that's just so cool. So if you subscribe to the blog, then when I get that posted, then you will see, we did have a couple people, we had some in the evening session that did the same thing, and it's just so neat. So, all right. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this, would love to have a thumbs up. Would also love to have you be a subscriber if you're not already. And if you decide to, make sure to hit the notifications next to it, so that way you can decide how you want to be notified, if you want to be notified at all. And as I mentioned, there's lots of information in the description section. And again, I so appreciate your watching and having fun with me as I share these fantastic tangles, and I wish you lots of happy tangling.